Hello and thanks for joining us for our review of the Roto Grip Idol Cosmos. Angel's up first at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas, and she's our control, so always on the house shot, every ball will always have the same layout. This is for consistency from ball to ball and video to video, and she represents what the average bowler can expect on their regular league shot. The house shot is similar to Kegel's Easy Street, just a little higher volume, so medium volume, medium length, and average difficulty for a house shot. It's not tough, but it's not cake either. It keeps you somewhat honest, but you can see a lot of oil in the middle and not a lot on the outside. Her standard layout is 4 5/8 by 3.5 by 2.5, which is also a medium layout, not super strong or super weak, and her other stats can be found in the description. Angel's shots here are really fun to watch because there was an adjustment process and it was perfectly captured. This is an extremely strong cover stock, but it can also be pretty responsive, which is an experience you'll be familiar with if you have a Helios. Roto doesn't have a chart like I showed in the Infinite review that's updated to include extreme tracks, but it's closely related to Storm's NEX and is currently Roto's strongest formula, while the Icon core in the Idols is Roto's strongest symmetric core. Just like with the Infinite physics, at first she was too far right, so she moved. That got her closer, then she upped the speed a little, but she was obviously uncomfortable with that, so she tried giving it some room, but it was too much, so it made the ball a little too lazy, and after a handful of shots, she got dialed in. What she ended up doing was just getting softer with her hand and letting the ball work. That got it through the fronts easier to help move the reaction further down the lane. Now, just like the Helios, this is a supercharged IQ Tour type of look, and this one reminds us both quite a bit of the IQ Tour Nano Pearl, but I'd say it's an improvement because while we both love the TNP, sometimes it's a little too much cover for the core. The lower differential on the core just doesn't give it enough flare sometimes. Early rolling core, strong cover, so it wanted to hook, but then when you opened your angles up or gave it some room, it also wanted to IQ because it just doesn't have a lot of flare. But the Cosmos has an extra 20 plus points of diff to work with, so it flares a lot more, and the result is a similar look, but something that's a lot more workable and consistent on the back end. Due to the strength and control, you're going to get a flat corner here and there. That's an idle thing anyway, but so is getting you to the pocket over and over again too. Comparing it to the Helios, these two share an IQ Tour, IQ Emerald relationship. The Cosmos is marginally cleaner and marginally weaker, but they're two peas in a pod. I'd say the main thing is that the Cosmos doesn't dig quite as hard. The Helios really wants to get moving early, but the Cosmos is a fair bit more patient, I think is the best word. It's not really sharp around the back end though. The Helios is pretty punchy for as strong and early as it is. That's a really fun feature of this cover stock, that is that the response can keep up with the traction. Sometimes you get super strong stuff and it's just too slow and early, so it makes you move left to get it down the lane, but then it doesn't want to make it back up the hill. Now, one thing to add that I pointed out in the Helios video as well is that the Helios and now Cosmos handle angle better than the Idol line has historically. They've always favored straighter angles. They can get deeper for bigger rev rates, but like straighter angles better. Extreme Track seems to be really helping out with that, as neither the Helios or Cosmos seem to be affected much by adding angle. The cover gives you the dig to get through the suit, but also the shape to get back with power. The brightness of the Helios and the very different colors between these two might mess with the optics a little, but hopefully you're seeing what I am, and I'm seeing some pretty similar things as far as overall shape, but some pretty different things as far as length down the lane. I think if you keep the box surface on the Helios and let the Cosmos lane shine, that'll separate them a bit more and make them fit together better as complements rather than competition. Same general look out of the Cosmos, it's just a bit cleaner. On the left side, I'm on the 2019 Open Championships doubles and singles pattern, 42 feet, 28.4 mils, so a couple feet longer and a fair amount heavier than the house pattern. I know it looks shorter than the house pattern, but that's just because there's more oil in the middle on a house shot. This one's heavier and wider, it's a lot flatter and tougher, and lane graph reading is for another video. The layout is my typical symmetric layout, 4x4x2. A second number doesn't really matter since it's symmetric, but I added it just because. It's a pretty strong and dynamic layout though. Same experience for me as for Angel. It took a couple extra shots to get lined up because this is a very strong cover, but it's also symmetric and lacks the torque of something like the Infinite to help it get moving down lane. I didn't really get comfortable with it until later in filming, and my problem was the same as hers. I was trying to slow roll it a little too much, and it was either moving on me or getting lazy. And once I started getting deeper and getting out of it cleaner, everything improved. So like I said in the Infinite review, that's what lets me know how strong of a ball this actually is. Angel didn't start seeing the best look out of it until she got softer with it, basically meaning she dropped the rev rate a little and got it off her hand cleaner. That pushed the reaction further down the lane. For me, it's just getting through the shot cleaner and being more firm and confident with my release. You can see that on a lot of these I was getting really wristy and thumbing it a lot, or just being too tentative. Too much release nonsense, trying to control the shape rather than just snapping through it and letting it work. At first I was pretty frustrated and disappointed because I thought it was too early and slow, but then I eventually figured out I was just an idiot, and given the frequency of that being the story, I really should have started there first. I've whiffed on stuff before. My first Idol Pearl, most notably, I thought it was the worst ball I'd ever thrown, but Angels looked amazing, and so did literally everyone else's, so I decided to give it another shot, put a different layout on it, and long story short, I ended up with 2 more for a total of 4 righty and 1 lefty over time, and it made me a lot of money. Also, I drilled a fresh one for this video, Idol Pearl number 6, so you'll get to see that comparison. Now, as you watch me finally begin to boot the brain up and get straightened out, if you like our jerseys, Rosedoll10 gets you 10% off your order at checkout at CoolWick. The code is in the description to copy and paste. Follow my Bowler's Mart link in the description for your bowling needs that associate your purchases with me, which helps me out quite a bit, so thanks for using that. Check out the SRGBBFS group on Facebook for all things SPI, and of course thanks to Turbo and especially Storm for keeping us in equipment to show off to everyone. Also, the new Super Thanks button below the video on the line with the like and share buttons allows you to leave me a tip, other than that you can't treat every situation as a life and death matter because you'll die a lot of times. Write that down. Moving to the Idol Synergy, also a fresh one, and at 4,000 as well, same layout as the Cosmos though. My original one I drilled for the initial review was pin in the ring, so 4 3/4 by 3.5 by 3.5, but as my speed has increased, that's been a little too weak for symmetrics, so I'm more at home with this layout now. The Synergy features the E-Trax hybrid cover, and E-Trax is quite a bit weaker, but quite a bit more responsive than Extreme Trax that's on the Cosmos. So overall, it's longer and decidedly sharper, but weaker. Friction response can make a ball look stronger than it really is, but the Synergy is getting more actual traction than I expected it to, so they're closer than I thought they'd be. I did film for the Cosmos first, so there's been a little transition, but not much. Not enough to have any appreciable effect anyway. Now, like I did with the Infinite and the Astro, I'm going to say again that the Cosmos is not a Synergy or Idol Pearl replacement. The traction aside, it's also smoother than they are, so it's not your prototypical skid flip big symmetric Pearl like an Idol Pearl or a Phase 4. It's closer to a Zen or a Zen Soul, IQ Tornado Pearl, etc. Strong, round, and controllable. When the Synergy came out, I pointed out once again that cover types don't always mean much because as we can see, the Idol Pearl is smoother than the Synergy, which again is a hybrid. I think the Idol Pearl version of E-Trax is actually a bit stronger than the Synergy version of E-Trax, which is why the Synergy is cleaner and sharper than the Idol Pearl is. Sharp eyes will see the Cosmos and Idol Pearl both starting to get traction earlier than the Synergy, but the Synergy covers more ground faster when it hits friction. I'm really happy to have one of these back in my bag. I can run an Idol bag again. The Idol Pearl is right in between the Synergy and Cosmos on shape. It's smoother than the Synergy, but firmer than the Cosmos. Again, however, it's weaker than the Cosmos. As you'll see in the supercut here, though, they aren't as far off as I thought, but they are further apart than they look. You'll have to take my word on that one because friction response can cover up a lot or really mess with the optics. The Cosmos is a complement to the Helios, but the way these fit in the lines can be somewhat confusing. They have the strongest covers Roto makes on symmetric cores, so while balls like the GEM UC2 and RSTX2 are asymmetric, they all have weaker cover formulas. Make sure to pay attention to the formulas. Just because they're asymmetric doesn't mean they're automatically stronger or have more traction. For both of us, the biggest point is that the Cosmos improves on the IQ Tornado Pearl. It's one that we both really liked and were sad to see go because it was an uncommon combination and we weren't really sure when we'd see something similar again. The Cosmos complements the Helios. It fits well in the line. It should be a very good sport ball, especially, so the college kids out there should pay attention. One-handed, two-handed, righty-lefty, whatever. It doesn't have the sometimes overwhelming combination of traction and shape that the Helios can, so if you like the Helios but want a slightly tamer version, the Cosmos is it. The Idol Cosmos releases with the Infinite Physics on July 8th. I'll have more comparisons coming to help you get a better idea how it fits within the whole line, including Build-A-Bag videos for both balls on release day. Once again, if you liked our jerseys, use my code ROSEDOLL10 to save 10% off your CoolWick order at checkout. Use my link to Bowler's Mart to buy your stuff, really helps me out. SRGBBFS group on Facebook. Thanks Turbo, big thanks to Storm, thank you for watching, and may the strikes be with you.